Hello. Right, my apologies. This is my third attempt at the video. Um, the first attempt, the computer crashed and I lost a lot. So when I open this, you'll see it's open. Second one, there was a little knock at the door, so I had to just answer the door, and it just took so long. By the time I come back, I've forgotten where I was up to, so I've decided to start again. So, like I said on the second video, which you'll never see, at least this is well rehearsed. So, um, there's a lot of companies out there that do, uh, I call them surprise boxes. You pay a subscription every month and you get a little surprise every month. One of the first ones I'd seen was Geekbox or something like that. It looks great. It looks really good value for money, but the sort of stuff you get, basically, I'm just going to end up with a big collection of crap that I'm not going to use. If you're not using it, in my terminology, it's crap. Um, Decorations are nice, but then more recently, I've seen some wargaming ones come up, and a lot of them they have figures, which is nice. But I play two games. I'm very limited in space. I move around a lot, so I need to take stuff with me. At the moment, I only play two games: Age of Sigmar and Blood Bowl. So a lovely figure for I don't know, some wrestling game is nice, but it's not a game I play, so it's useless crap. Um, so I saw a review online of Asset Drop. I really liked what it was. It just seems to be all about paints. It appealed to me because I've been painting now for three years. I tried to call myself a beginner, but more realistically, I'm probably an intermediate. Um, I I've tried new techniques and methods and things, and more recently I've branched out. This is my paint collection, not collection. It's one of my paints. All my pots are Citadel, um, with the exception of one or two paints. And I'm trying out new brands, and that's something that I want to do. I've just bought a big set of watercolors, watercolors, which I'm getting on very well, mainly because they're in drop bottles. But they're completely different from Citadel, yet they're the same, if that makes sense. So when I saw Asset Box, basically the concept is you pay a fee each month, you receive a box, you have no idea what you're receiving. It's the box that I saw last month. It was a new brand that this guy hadn't heard of. It was a couple of little paints, and it comes with a little booklet on how to use them, and just a couple of little bits. So let's have a look at the box again. I apologise because it's been opened. So this is rehearsed. So we've got a well packaged box. This is one of the things that appeals to me. This will not fit through your letterbox, which means if you're not in, your postman's probably going to leave you a red letter. However, I would rather have a well packaged box that doesn't fit through the letterbox than something that's been shoved through. So without opening it, you know there's a good chance it's in good condition. I've seen this box reviewed on YouTube, and he hid this. There's a code. You've got a month's free premium for Wargamer Online. Never heard of Wargamer Online. There is. I'm a member of Mini Wargaming, so it looks like, because they do painting tutorials, battle reports, product reviews, chat and discussions. That on its own looks like it might be worth doing. So they've given me 1 month's premium membership for free, so I'll give that a try. So I'm happy for that. Now the review that I saw, they had a bag of Haribo. So when I saw there was no Haribo, I was a little bit disappointed. But then at the bottom, we've got a drumstick, which I love drumsticks. They're my favourite. Takes me back to when I was 5. And I don't think this has changed size. Chocolate and sweets, they seem to have got smaller over the years, but this seems to have just changed shape. So that's really appreciated. Sorry, bear with me, I'm getting high usage. Right, so you get a guidebook, which I will, it's got number 2, I presume it's the second month. Now I've heard good things about this book, but honestly, I didn't expect it to be this good. It's really, really, the pages, when you buy a book, you normally get ordinary pages and then you get nice glossy cover. The actual pages are about the same quality as you'd expect the cover, and then the cover, I think the cover's about the same. So this cover, that's the same quality all through. I'll go through the guidebook later because I'll show you the paints that I got and why I'm particularly excited. So the first thing, now I watch a lot of YouTube videos by Next Level Painting, and he seems to go on about Secret Weapon. So this is something that I would like to try, and I'm also painting an Airfix bus. So obviously when I see that I've got rubber, tyre black and rubber highlight, I'm very, very excited because these will definitely get used. So that's a good one. The next ones I saw, see if we can get that into focus. MIG Metallics, brass and old brass. I'm excited for this for 2 reasons. One is, I said I play Age of Sigmar. My army is Khorne. So Khorne has lots of brass. Hang on. Oh, they've got little agitators in them. These ones haven't. Right. So and also I haven't. Where have I've been buying 8 war colours, but I didn't buy the metallics. And the reason I didn't buy the metallics was I was told that they're not good metallics. So I'm still using Citadel metallics. So now I have a different metallic to try out. So being painting Khorne figures, these will get used. Grimy dirt. Now this is a pigment. I've never ever used a pigment before in my life. So I'm happy to receive this because it's just a new product that I've never used before, pigments. And it's made by Broken Toad. Now I've got some Broken Toad brushes. Sorry, just bear with me. I'm just going to pause it a sec. I just need a drink. Right, my apologies for that. I had a cup of coffee, but it was just out of reach. Yeah, so I bought some Broken Toad brushes in the past. They're not my favourite brushes, but they're very good brushes. Obviously, everyone has personal preference. So I would say that if their brushes, if that's where they sit in the brush world, if their pigments are the same, then this will be a good pigment, but I may find something that I prefer to use. I will give this a go. I can grimy dirt. That's something that you can always use. And the last, do you know what? Sorry, I need to. Right. And the last actual paint is Cote d'Arms Muddy Green. Never used these before. So again, Muddy Green, that's something that I can use. So I'll give that a try. And then lastly, I don't know if this is part of the bundle or if it's a little extra free gift. A Cote d'Arms paintbrush. Come on, come into focus. Size 3 brush. I don't normally use size 3s, but however, this is I think I'm a little bit disappointed by this. This looks like one of these cheap Revel brushes you can buy. It doesn't look that good. However, I'll give it a try. And the great thing about brushes is that you never waste brushes. If it's a cheap, nasty, horrible brush, you can always use it for mixing paints. So yeah, there's again this so everything that I've got this month I can use. Um, so I'll just put this box away, and then we'll have a look at the whoops. We'll have a look at the guide. So I have looked through this about halfway, and that's where the video cut on me on the first time. So the first page explains. First of all, it told you what you've got. So these secret weapons, they're valued at £5 each, and these are valued at £2.30 each. Muddy green. Oh, I see. Right, okie dokie. Now that explains things. Coat d'arms, brush scapes, muddy green, and basing brush. Retail £6. So it's these two that have come as a set. So this isn't a painting brush, this is a basing brush. So now I'm not disappointed. I now think that that's brilliant. So I take back my earlier comment. There is a lesson learnt there. Read instructions before you make a comment. So yeah, because this is presented as muddy green and a basing brush, that's absolutely perfect as a basing brush. That's why they've not given me a high quality sable. If they'd given me that as a paintbrush, I mean, I'm beginner stroke intermediate, and I was almost insulted. If I was a commissioned painter, I'd probably have cancelled my subscription. But no, they've given it as a basing brush. That's fine. I'm happy with that now. And the last one is the grimy dirt pigment, which is retails at £3. Actually, that's seems a pretty good price. So explain how to use the secret weapons, and obviously they've used it on tires, but they've also used it on dark armor. I don't know if you can see that. So that brings in a use for if you play Age of Sigmar, where you don't really have rubber tires on anything. And the way this is written is really the way it comes across to me. Where's the bit? It's written in first person perspective. It's like I presume the guy who runs Asset Drop, he uses these paints, and he's actually making notes as he does. So he's put here, tire black is best painted onto a dark base, but I found it covers well on most base colours anyway. Thin the tire black slightly on your palette as you normally would. 1 to half with thinner or water is the ratio I used. And cover your tyres with 2 coats until you get a nice even finish. So it's like obviously he's got hold of these, he's given it a go. If he doesn't like them, they don't get in the box. If he does like them, he gives his notes. So yeah, I mean, it's the way that it's written. So I'm just caught sight of this one. Painter's dark armor. Due to the fine detail on the example model, highlighting each panel made sense, but if your armor panels are larger, each one being highlighted might look a bit much. So little design notes. I apologize I'm making you read this upside down. So the metallics is explaining. I like this one. This is a fairly obvious tip, but always give your metallics a good shake. They separate easily while stood. It also helps to give them regular mix on your palette while painting with them, as the pigment tends to sink to the bottom of the medium. So again, he's made out. Yeah, it's an obvious tip. Do you remember some people that are reading this might be new to the hobby, and he seems to have taken that into consideration. So he's painted a I forget what you call them now. So you first paint in the old brass colour. You don't need to thin the ammo metal, as it already comes at a great consistency for metal painting. but if you prefer thinner paints, I found it takes both thinner and water very well. So again, more little notes. So someone has actually used these. They're not just, these aren't just written by the company to say, oh, this, you know, someone's actually used them. So yeah, he's gone through highlighting with the metallics. Then we've gone on to muddy bases. Now obviously he's put these in together to be used together. So you've got the texture, it's textured paint. Could be quite damaging to brushes, so keep your favourite nice brushes and use the Coat d'Arms basing brush we included in your drop. Keep wetting. So yeah, I am going to apologise for my earlier comment. I thought he put that in as a paint and brush, but again, that just emphasises. Have a look through the notes. So yeah, but it then goes on how to make. So we've got churned grass, mix 2 to 3 parts of pigment to 1 part textured paint, and a little water to get new brown colour. Cover the base in muddy green and then dab on areas of the brown. Grass and mud puddles, dusty plateau, pigment tint, or just muddy green. Of course, you don't have to use the grimy dirt pigment on your base at all. So it's something that you can experiment with. So it tells you how to use pigments. So people like me who've never used pigments, I will now be able to use them. And then they focused on a particular brand here, Coat d'Arms. So Coat d'Arms paints are manufactured in Manchester by HMG Paints. They've been making a huge range of paints for over 80 years. This same factory also produces Halfords paints, model railway paints, actual military vehicle paints, and the paints foundry in P32. Very strict control processes. And due to very strict control processes to colour match their paints. And due to this, each colour must be purchased in batches of 250 bottles at an amazing 161 colours in their range. That means to buy a full set of their paints from the factory, Black Hat would have to buy over 40,000 bottles. Maybe that's why they aren't available in so many shops. If you get the small shop and they're having to buy 250 bottles, it's just not going to work out for them, is it? £500 worth. Well, I don't know what the retailers spend on it, but if it's £2.50, if it's £2.50 a bottle, the retailers are probably buying that at, say, well, if it costs them £1 a bottle, that's 250 quid. It's going to cost for one bottle, and then they're going to have to stock probably at least a quarter of the range. You know, maybe the 40 most popular brands. So 40 bottles at 250. That's a lot of stock to carry. So yeah, maybe I can see why they don't. You don't seem to be able to get it in smaller retailers, unless there's something that I don't know. So yeah, it tells you with all the different. Oh, hang on. Expand the range even further in the future by adding weathering products, but you didn't hear that from us. If you want to check out any of their miniatures too, they own the following games: Outcast Miniatures Crusader and Dragon King's Chinese range. They've also created 2 of their own games, Shattered Isles and Martian Empires. And then, oh, that's nice. It turns out 5% of my fee has gone to Blue Marine Foundation. So it's, yeah, something to do with the. So yeah, it's nice, and I've given a little bit of charity to this month. So there you go, guys. That's my review of Acid Drop for November. I'd only paid for 1 month's subscription. I think I'm actually going to give that another go. A lot of this is coincidence for me. It's coincidental that I did want to try Secret Weapon. It's coincidence that I'm looking for new brands, but I haven't found a brand that it's rumored that they don't do good metallics. So it's coincidence I've never tried pigments before. It's no coincidence that I'm always looking for good stuff to do bases with. And I don't need a brush for basing, but you know, I'll give that a go. So yeah, it's been a good month for me for Acid Drop. I'm very happy with it. I can't remember how much that cost. I'm not really going to spend the time looking for it. So yeah, thank you to Acid Drop, and yeah, you'll get my I'll probably end up changing that to a 3-month subscription.